Welcome to another episode of Just Some Points. Starting this week, we will also make our episodes available via podcast files, and hopefully very soon we will be in all the podcast apps. So look out for that. So Melissa, why don't you get us started today? I'm anxious to hear what you brought us today.
Sure. So today I'm bringing some news about Google My Business. They just recently this week started testing a call history feature for the business profiles. They're designed for businesses to see and respond to missed calls that are coming in through Google Maps and Google Search. The call history is going to be available for 45 days at a time, so you can see your past 45 days worth of organic phone calls coming through your listing.
Can you download them?
I actually don't know yet. I think this started on Tuesday, people started noticing it, so it's still in beta. I would imagine probably down the line that they will give you that information to export, just like they do everything else with their Google platforms. Right now it's an opt-in feature, so you have to opt in to even see that feature to begin with. And it's also only available on the app right now. So you're not going to be able to see it in your browser just yet. But again, with this being in beta, I would imagine that they're working on it to be in browser, but they're probably just trying to get more downloads on their app. So they're probably just pushing it there first before they spread it out more.
Wow, it's a good feature. You know, we are all about measuring and stay on top of all of that. We just had a conversation about that related to points this week as well. So I think that will probably make a really positive impact on the advertising.
Yeah, I think this is a really good feature, and I hope that, it rolls out pretty quickly, because I think a lot of small businesses, especially right now, would really benefit from it.
Great, that's good news. Okay, then I'll go a second. Mine is actually rather short today, but it fits to Google. It's also a Google related topic, and we talk about SEO a lot, and we will continue to do that because for a lot of clients, it's very difficult to understand the complexities of SEO, and make also our services or our agency services transparent. And I just read this week their focus on labeling pages as fast pages in their new Chrome browser. And actually, quite frankly, I didn't know about that at all. I haven't, for whatever reason, never read about it. Apparently in May they started doing that, but now they're upping it with the new Chrome browser. And what it is they tag pages in the search that have a particular fast performance. They perform very fast. And basically going down the article, it's basically saying that among all the different things Google is looking, and they look at so many different things when it comes down to search results and performance, they will continue what is not changing. They will continue to focus on the vitals, the core vitals of a website. And the speed of a website is just one of those core vitals. It will not change. We talked in the past about the new algorithm change in January and on engagement, all of those things. While all of that is true, the core pieces to Google, how they look at you, is not changing. So there are actually some really cool tools that you can use from them now. Also, as it relates to this, there is we'll put it. I can't find it right now quickly, but there's a Google Search Console new core Web Vitals report. Basically, what it allows you to do is you run this report for all your pages, and it basically lists all the pages that have speed issues. And so you should go through that and really make sure that, especially the pages that matter, that they're doing fine, and focus on that. It was unclear, and I was doing a little bit more digging. how much it will influence the search, the tagging, but one might think that it will have in one way or another, does have an impact if they tag it as a high-speed page. So keep focused and stay focused on high-performing pages, and also make sure that your pages perform well from a speed perspective on desktop as well as mobile, because it doesn't necessarily mean that it's performing well on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
There are scenarios where your page could perform well on the desktop, but does not perform well from a speed perspective on mobile, and mobile is the majority of the traffic, and it's the index that they look at first. So it's not necessarily brand new, but it's something that, we keep want to make the point that stay focused on SEO. It's not going to go away, and stay focused on the core things: speed, good content, good engagement, clean, lean websites.
I wonder if that's going to also apply to PDFs. Like we were talking about earlier this week, in a white paper that we're actually working on, is how to optimize your PDFs for organic search. And you can actually say, there's like in Adobe or Microsoft or however you're saving your PDFs, you can actually save it as a fast view mode. So I wonder if—
I bet it has to do with that.
Yeah, it's probably very similar. And I wonder if PDFs are going to be included in the Core Vitals speed testing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't thought about that, but we should look up that report and see what are the metrics that they list there as the core pieces, and maybe we'll follow up maybe with a blog on that for people to look at. But it's definitely something you just have to stay focused on it, because the penalty is just too big if your website is too slow. You have a few plugins in your website that conflict with each other or unnecessary. Your images are too big, and so on and so forth. And all of a sudden, your website load time is just too long, and then it goes very quick.
Yep.
So, very well. So, Kristen, what do you have for us?
I am going to talk about health literacy, which seems to not relate to what you guys are talking about, but it does, because I feel like your business's website, there's so many different pieces of the puzzle to make it all one good source of information. And so this goes to quality content, and as a medical, specializing in medical marketing, especially so health literacy is the ability of any person to be able to find the information they're looking for, understand it, but then be able to put it into use for either to make informed health decisions for themselves, or if they are making health decisions for a loved one. And it's very, I don't think that practices, healthcare professionals they feel like they're speaking in plain language to patients, whether it's in written content or in verbal content, and they aren't necessarily doing that, because we know how we can get into, when you're in an industry and you're speaking to other people in the industry, you just start to fall into this industry speak, and you lose everybody who's not in the industry because they don't know what you're talking about.
We have that on a regular basis, that we develop websites, and then our clients, who are very often doctors, they would like to have very sophisticated scientific content, forgetting that is the type of content that their patients don't really understand or want to read or want to digest, it's not fitting. And while it's admirable to create high quality content from a scientific perspective, it's really off target, because at the end of the day, you have to be able to communicate what needs to be communicated, not write a scientific article or page. And so we have that actually on a regular basis, right? I know you had many conversations with clients on that.
Oh yes, it's an ongoing conversation because they are afraid that their peers are going to read their website and feel like this is subpar information. It's not meant to be. This isn't information that's being submitted for a peer-reviewed journal. This is information for your business website. So this is, you have to know your audience and what they need, and that this is actually something that the CDC created. It's called the Plain Writing Act, and the whole purpose of it was to increase the health literacy of individuals and organizations, and to get practices and physicians to do this, because they feel that organizations have a responsibility to address health literacy, because the point of you want to keep people healthy. When they understand that, then they're not making decisions in crisis mode. So when they get injured, when they start experiencing pain, when they end up in the ER, is not the time to overload them with a ton of information. It's to constantly be able to feed them information in a way that they can easily digest that, comprehend it, think about it, and then make an informed decision. And so all of your blogs, your patient handouts, your landing pages on conditions, you need to have it in simple terms for your audience to understand, which also will increase your SEO, because patients aren't searching for stuff that you see in a journal article. They search for, my knee hurts. They don't search for ACL tear, because they may not even know what ACL stands for.
Right. Are there any best practices at a high level?
There is actually. The CDC has a page. You can go to their website, and this will go out in our newsletter. So there's a link to it that goes directly to it in our newsletter, where they have a plan that tells you exactly how to create your plan, how to collaborate with the community, so the people that you're trying to reach, all the guidelines, laws, and standards that you need to follow, how to develop and test your content with doing audience research, researching culture. They give you plain language resources. They also provide research, and they have evaluation tools. They even have a widget where you can download the widget to your website and feed in your information, and it will tell you if you're doing too many, if it's not plain language enough, basically.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. You know, it's all of that actually reminds me very much of some of the training you've done, and core expertise that we also provide to a lot of our clients, which is conscious content, and which is goes to the, I know you're highly passionate about that, conscious content, being able, to be conscious about who you talk to, what you need to communicate, and how to communicate it in the right fashion. That it's really what we're talking about here, right?
Yes, and it's very variable. So you have organizations like we have some clients that are very directed at helping the adolescent and LGBTQ communities. So what they put out in plain language is going to be a lot different than, say, an overall HMO versus a small aesthetic dermatology practice. Right. So you really have to do your research and change your content based on that. And talking to an agency like us is a good way to do that, because it can even just be, you can do that as part of your plan where you have someone else evaluate, because what you don't need to have other physicians evaluating this for plain language. You need to have people from your audience, from the type of people you're trying to reach, be able to tell you, yes, I comprehend this. Because a lot of times, you know, you go to the doctor, they give you all this information and they're in a hurry and you're like, you just nod, yes,
Right.
okay, but you don't really know. And then you go home and Google, and Lord knows what you're going to find when you Google. So
Very interesting. It's definitely something that we deal with every day. I know, and since we were in existence, the content that goes to our websites or to our clients' website and all the content we create. Very, very interesting. We'll put the information that Kristen was talking about also below the video. And I'm sure we'll come back to that sometime in the future again, because I think there's more to be talked about. So hope this was interesting, and see you next week.